The 49ers have had one heck of an offseason thus far. So many amazing signings. We're going to talk about that plus more next. All right, welcome back to Last Second Sports, where we are giving you our take down to the last second. And as you can see, I got my three guys with me. 4-man front time, free agent edition. We're just going to jump right into it, fellas.
Hold on real quick. I just heard from sources that we've all been released.
Oh,
they're looking for new players on the 4-man front. We're all out.
You know what, though?
I'll play center, bro.
We can do our own thing. You know that, right? Like, we can start our own. We'll just do that.
Why not?
Start our own.
Why not?
That's it. I got it. We're good. We're fine. Actually, the Denver Broncos will sign us. They're signing all the ex-49ers. We should be good. We're covering the Denver Broncos. All right, fellas, listen. There's been a lot made so far with the offseason at hand. 49ers are letting a lot of people go, not bringing a lot of people in. So the question becomes, are there players, or is there a player in particular that the 49ers should have kept at all costs? We've seen a bunch of numbers thrown around, $277 million given up to their ex-players when it comes down to the total contracts that they've been given. Is there somebody that they should have kept throughout this fiasco? And since he's right next to me, I'll just start with Coach on this one.
No. It's time to go ahead and just purge it all. The difference between good franchises and bad organizations is being able to move on. I believe that, I would have loved to keep Dre if the money was right, but once you see what he actually left for, you're happy for him. That's something that I wouldn't have done to sign him for that much money, and quite frankly, I don't think we can afford him. We already saw Juice. I think that was long overdue. Debo got traded. Moving on for Travarius Ward, that was already just scenery. He just mentally wasn't here, which is fine. Moving on from an overloaded, underperforming contract in Javon Hargraves was something that wasn't that big of a deal to me. And letting go of I changed my mind. There was one guy. There was. As I've gone down the list, there was one guy.
We'll let you take it back. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. But to be honest with you, in a way, there's no way we could have kept him because I'm not mad at him. But Jalen Moore did do good work for us. Him being able to stay in and tackle and play. He actually had some. He did, man. He actually did some good work for us. Had solid games. Actually,
Jalen Moore or Luke Farrell?
Jalen Moore.
Yeah.
Jalen Moore, hands down. But at 15 per 2 years, $30 million to the Chiefs. Come on, man. That's life-changing money for him. He's never seen anything like that before. So you can't blame him. But if you're gonna go straight on to just actual players, Jalen was the only guy that I actually wanted to keep. But to be honest with you, you can get all of that in this year's draft coming in with 15 picks. So for me, it's going to be hard for me to really actually zero in on a guy that, I wanted to stay.
Grant, what about you?
I'm going to sound like a hypocrite right now because I didn't want the Niners to re-sign him. But now that I've seen that they spent $20 million on Luke Farrell, I'm like, well, I would rather have had Dre Greenlaw. Because he ended up not getting a ton of money, like 3 years, 35. That's less than Hufanga and Ward. And Ward's great, but I don't think the Niners should have offered him $21 million a year. He might not even have taken it. But Dre, if he's healthy, he's going to be so freaking good for Denver. And I don't know if he'll be healthy, but the Niners aren't going to be able to replace him. And I think there's a good chance that we already seen what Fred Warner looks like without Dre Greenlaw. He's not a dominant player. It's possible that Greenlaw was better than Warner the whole time. And I don't know if you guys saw it, but Brandon Ayuk's friend posted on Instagram that Greenlaw is better than Warner. So I feel like it's going to be a very unpopular move in the locker room. He was one of the core leaders, even though they never made him a captain. And again, like if he just stays healthy, they're gonna really regret this, especially because they spent like 2/3 of the money on freaking Luke Farrell. So that's the one.
Just can I just add this, please, Grant? Just from a football perspective, I'm going to do it anyway. They do not play the same position, so I mean, they're asked to do completely two different skill sets on the field. And I think what's beautiful is that when you see them together, right, you kind of see like the elevation of both their games. But for the record, like Dre Greenlaw and Fred, they don't play the same position. So I thought that was kind of like pointless, to be honest.
What was?
His friend saying that, like somebody saying that Dre Greenlaw is better than Fred Warner. Like the conversation, truthfully, was Dre Greenlaw over Aziz when he was here.
The significance would be if Ayuk feels that way, and if the locker room feels that way, and if the locker room's like, dude, you let Dre Greenlaw go so you could sign Luke Farrell and whoever else you end up Richie Grant. Like, why? We want freaking Dre Greenlaw. We made that real clear. And maybe you don't make decisions like that, but that's the one. I think people are going to understand that Hufanga left. But Greenlaw was like both Super Bowls. I don't know.
Oh, no. I will be a hypocrite now. They don't play the same position, but I do think Dre Greenlaw is a better player.
Okay, thank you.
So
thank you.
I just think that saying that he's better than him is they don't play the same position. I think that's a little.
Ayuk and Warner got a fight that time in training camp. I wonder if they're really close. I don't know. Anyway, Ryan, your turn. Sorry.
Yeah.
All good. I think for me, it depends. Like, what are they trying to accomplish? I agree with both of you guys. Jalen Moore, better than Colton McKibbitz, better than Jake Brendel. Trent Williams, how many games is he going to play? Dre Greenlaw is probably the hardest one to grasp leaving because they offered him, I think it was, 35, which is like 11.6. They said the Niners offered him roughly 10 for 1 year, so they could have had him for 11.6 for 3. And if he's healthy, which I think he's going to be, that one hurts. And they offered a contract to Christian McCaffrey after an injury. No one said anything about that. They signed Curtis Robinson, linebacker, who I like, restricted free agent, 1 year. Guess what? After an injury. So
the irony.
Yeah, right. So it doesn't make that much sense to me. But here's the thing: are they trying to compete for a Super Bowl, or are they just completely rebuilding?
Dude, they are rebuilding.
Right. So then, Greenlaw, if you're just completely rebuilding, then you move on from all these dudes. Really, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, real quick, and I agree with you guys. I mean, Greenlaw would have been nice. I knew it's funny because right away when they were like, well, they're going to try to get Dre Greenlaw back on the cheap. They really want him. It was like, there's no way. Somebody's for sure going to offer him 3 years, $30 million. And I was wrong. It was 3 years, 35. But it was in the wheelhouse. So it's crazy that like the 49ers somehow don't know these things and they still try to make a run at their players. But the Ayuk thing does hold water because we've heard the 49ers side all offseason about how much they regret the Ayuk thing. I wonder if you were to ask Ayuk and give him truth serum, if he regrets not taking a deal with the Steelers or the Patriots or the Browns and just leaving himself. It feels like they both don't want to be married right now, but they don't really have a choice.
Yeah, if I got that injury like Ayuk did, I'd feel like the universe was telling me I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. But I'm superstitious.
Again, man, like I understand, but more money, more problems. You got to understand that all money ain't good money. He should have took the early deal. I think the biggest deal isn't the fact that, it's ominous or it's bad luck or juju that, he took the deal. And now that he's at a place where, he's not necessarily wants to, he doesn't like basically the climate, but you took I'm the man money, right? You took I'm the man money. You just wanted to be amongst men. Now you're the only man. You know what I'm saying? So deal with it, brother. You get your $30 million a year. You got to be a pro, not because you want to be a pro or you want a contract that's comparable to the teammates around you. You got to be a pro, comparable to the performance that you're going to put on the field. So now that $30 million looks a little different now that Debo's not here. All right, that $30 million looks a little different now that we're kind of shifting some of these names out of here. It's kind of sticking out. So he's got to own that.
Matt says, I'm a new member, even though he's been a member forever. That's weird. Appreciate you, Matt. Poop Saget says, hi, gentlemen. Hello, Poop.
Poop Saget.
Matt says, let's talk about the 49ers releasing Lombardi. I did see that post, man.
That was funny.
Left field. That one came out of left field. Jason says, this season is shot. Who should we be watching in college with our 2026 top 3 pick? The league is improving, and we are not so much for the easy schedule. We're going to talk about that. Not the 2026 stuff,
yeah,
but whatever. That's a little too rich for me. Stockton Slap says, just like that, the Niners window is gone like a fart in the wind. Once Brock is overpaid, they will be on their way to being in the basement for 3 to 5 years. He's a Rams fan, so keep that in mind.
I know.
Dazza says, how does the core vets get pumped for the upcoming season in a rebuild? Does Trent even want to come back for this?
They buy Chevys.
Sold on Trent coming back when they get through the draft without drafting his replacement and him retiring. I still
right, because I asked John Lynch, and John Lynch said, "Oh yeah, absolutely." But he could always be like, "You know what? We got new information the day before the draft." It's the funniest thing.
Trent Williams wants to retire.
Yeah, maybe. Connor says, when history reflects on this era of the Niners, what do you guys think will be the biggest reason we missed our window? Shout out to the 4-man front. Best show. Biggest reason. I'll go with ego. I mean, they acted like they had won the whole time and they were the best team and they could never get better. And I think that extra inch in a game or in a season was enough to hold them back. I mean, they were this close twice. So,
I mean, for me, the number one, I thought we had it very early. The Niners they won the game with their front seven. They poured all of their attention into it. They didn't shy away from it. It was their exact plan. And they started paying receivers and skill guys, letting go of their depth. I mean, that was the beginning of the end for me. Once they gutted their D-line and their depth is on the trenches, it is what it is. They systematically did it with the O-line, but really it's just the trenches. They slowly but surely picked away at the trenches.
I think the Ayuk contract is a big reason why this offseason is happening the way it is. They didn't budget for it. Kyle Shanahan insisted on it. And now Greenlaw has to go. Ward has to go. Funga has to go. I think if they had traded Brandon Ayuk for a pick and gotten another person on a rookie deal, they could have re-signed some of these. They could have re-signed Jalen Moore. Or they could go out and be a little bit more aggressive with other people's free agents. But they got Ayuk. Who's hurt?
That's a very good point, Grant.
Yeah, no, I mean, you led me there. It was Debo too, but the Ayuk one, they can't get out of that.
Yeah. But really for me, what kind of like, what shows me that they're on the right path, that, all right, look, you're taking your lumps and good on us. We've been kicking this can far too long. Sooner or later, we're going to have to answer this. But for me, you don't triple down on bad. What kind of seals the deal and closes the door on this is how we sign Brock. If we sign Brock to like a real team friendly deal that's adequate for where we are as a team now, not what we want the team to believe that we're doing, so we can pay him like, oh yeah, we paid Brock, we're going towards the Super. No, we're paying Brock $37 million. We're paying Brock $40 million a year. Once they do that, I think the sky is the limit, because then you'll get exposed. Now you got to coach your way out of this. You got to play your way out of this. I think that'll be a good purging for the team, because the team and the organization are not the same. They're two different things. I love what the organization is doing with the team.
Do you guys think Robert Saleh was prepared for this rebuild? Do you think he was hired with the assumption,
that's a
knowing
question,
that this is what he's going to have to deal with?
Yeah, somebody posed this in my DMs, and I
don't know.
I think he'd be pissed.
I don't know. I do not know. That's a great question.
Yeah.
When do you think John and Kyle found out?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Well, for me, it would have been when Debo got traded, but that doesn't make sense because Debo says that he requested the trade. But
if it was that, like, the Yorks had a meeting with John and Kyle like right after the season and told them then, I would think they told them, like, right after the season. I would think Robert Saleh knew. I don't know.
They probably knew after last season, right? They might have known after last season, right?
But do you think that it's at all possible that they were told and Kyle was like, "Yeah, right, go on."
No, you all right? Okay, all right. So if we're going by Grant's theory or his hypothesis, do you know what really follows by that? is their exit meeting. Kyle was attentive. He was very clear. He was a little bit contrite with his answers. He was almost as if he had heard the news, but he was trying his best to see if it really landed. So I'm going to talk big picture. I'm going to be open. That was the best press conference Kyle gave all season. Through all of the games we lost, even through the beginning of the year, that exit meeting looked like they had just got talked to because they were both on their best behavior.
It's true.
Maybe. Dr. Slap says Grant looks like he's in Dahmer's apartment. Or
How you know I'm not?
Dave says, what is good, my guys? This is my favorite show on YouTube, and I love seeing you all together. I feel like I've been saying fire Lyle for years, and I've been saying fire everyone for a year. Burn it down, but Lyle can't do the rebuild. We're gonna.
You know what's kind of interesting though?
Too, Dave.
So like they're getting the team like they did 10 years ago after they fired Harbaugh, but back then they kind of set up the next two coaches for failure because they were in a tear down phase. Now it's like, okay, like maybe we won't fire Kyle yet because we got to tear down the roster, and any coach we hire, we're setting up for failure. So let's let Kyle wear this. Hey, Kyle, you're a great coach, right? You're a great coach, right? Well, why don't you take all these draft picks? You don't need expensive vets. You're a great coach. I mean, look what Sean McVay's doing with those youngsters down in LA. You're better than Sean. So we're gonna give you a bunch of draft picks. Make it work. You have an easy schedule. Make the playoffs. If not, or I don't know. They could just turn it over to another coach when they feel like the roster's ready. They can let Kyle take the lumps while they're tearing it down.
They are making him dig his own grave at gunpoint.
Yes, they are.
This is what they're doing. I've been saying this all off season. I love what they're doing because really, this is perfect because the question obviously in the beginning of the season was, well, is Kyle on the hot seat? Is Kyle on the hot seat? And I would always say, no, I don't want him to be on the hot seat. Not necessarily because of the success that he's had in the past, and it would be reactionary to fire him off of a losing season fresh off a Super Bowl. But no, brother. You're the one who sold us on all these deals. You're going to wear this. You don't get to walk off into the sunset, go chill for a year, then go get a cushy job, possibly another. Record. Yeah, and then we got to get stuck with the tab of all of your ideas. And then on top of it, we got to convince somebody to come here and right the ship of something that they had nothing to do with. Nah, bruh, you're going to stay your ass right here. You're going to own it. You're going to coach with Brock Purdy. And if you guys suck, the whole world is going to know that you did this because now the Trey Lance deal is going to come back up. Now all of the Buckner deal is going to come back up. Wasting money on Javon Kinlaw. I'm telling, bro, I love what the organization's doing. They're learning because that's what the 2 years were for when we got Tom Sula and Chip Kelly is that we were reactionary. If they really wanted to stick it to Jim, they would have made his ass stay here and wear it. Mm-hmm. I love what they're doing.
Yeah, you don't get to be a savior in Michigan. You have to go ride this out and be like 6-10 again.
Yeah. We'll find the right coach to come in here and pick
then
up
when
the
we
bones
fire
later.
you, no one's gonna say don't do it. Everyone's gonna be like, get rid of this guy.
Yeah, we're ready. Yeah, we're ready. They set the stage. It's perfect.
Yep. Ryan, what do you think about this? This was one of our topics, anyways. This is a good segue.
I don't know. I just know. I think they knew after the Brandon Ayuk contract that they were all in. They pushed the chips all in at that moment, right? Like Grant reported what I heard at that moment, that this is an all in. And if you don't have success, heads will roll, right? That's what Grant reported. So they probably knew throughout the entire season as they go to 6-11, it was probably on his mind. He knew what was coming. I think he had that impression, but I also think you guys are correct. The exit meeting kind of just, hey, we told you. Now this is where we're at.
Do you think
they probably explained it to him before the season started? Like, we'll sign Ayuk, and if you don't make the Super Bowl or even the playoffs, this is what's going to happen. So, are you sure you want Ayuk? Are you sure? Because this is what's going to happen if it go. Are you sure this is what we're going to do? All right, you know the consequences.
Yeah. Because it didn't feel like the other deals. The other deals that you heard about Kyle intervening late, it seemed like, his presence is kind of what got it done. The Ayuk deal kind of got pushed to us like Kyle was a little bit kind of hat in hand, like begging. Like, hey, we need to get this done.
Yeah.
And I would believe that there would be a conversation of like, all right, it's almost like, when you at the bookie, it's like, hey, paying your deal is paying for your past debt is paying for your past debt.
Yeah.
But when you're late, all right, it ain't no such thing as a misstep. We got to put some points on the VIG now. I'm sorry. I love you, but, the debt gets added onto the principal, sir. So, it's on.
Can I ask you guys this? Like, Jesse, like, do you like what they're doing? Do you like this rebuild, this direction that they're going, getting rid of all these expensive dudes and retooling?
I love this.
I love it.
I started talking about this last offseason. The trade deadline again, I said the 49ers had just lost to the Chiefs. I knew they were about to beat Dallas, but they had that bye week right after they were going to beat Dallas. And they had to make a decision right then and there. And I said, this is the time that you move on from guys like Debo, guys like Trent, whoever it is that you feel like you got to move on from. And then you take that cap hit 100% this year. You get an asset for them while you can before you get to the offseason, while teams are excited and trying to win a Super Bowl and all of that. And you move on and you take it on the chin for a year, and then you bounce back in 2026 forward. Then nothing happened. Of course, I didn't expect it to. When we did a show a few weeks ago, I just felt like it was going to be the 49ers doing what they always do. They were going to try to hang on for one more year. I'm like, this team is not going to win another playoff game for another 2-3 years, guys, because they're going to do what they always do. And to my surprise, they've done exactly what I've been asking. Now, I take a little credit away because they're doing it later than what they should have. This should have been a year ago. They're still a year behind, but they do get some credit. And I also agree, to me, they are making Kyle Shanahan wear it. And here's the blueprint, guys. The Denver Broncos last year had $90 million in dead cap space. Right now, the 49ers are around $89 million. But the Denver Broncos got the quarterback in the draft. They had the head coach. You look at the Chargers. You look at the Bills. You look at the Washington Commanders. All of those teams were purging bad contracts, rebuilding on the fly, but they had the coach and they had the quarterback, and they still were able to make noise. So,
real quick, though,
Kyle Shanahan,
with Broncos, though, they had a quarterback on a rookie deal. The Niners are about to cash out Brock Purdy and have $10 million
right now. I'm just saying for this year. Here's what I see. Right now, you still got Brock on that rookie deal, right? You've got Brock, who everybody says is the
plus
franchise
the signing bonus prorated. His cap number is going to be high.
You've got Shanahan. For sure. But then you've got Shanahan, who is supposed to be the savior. If those two guys are as good as everybody says they are, then with this schedule, still with the talent, you have a good draft. You better make the playoffs. That's the way that I see it. And if they don't make the playoffs, everybody's kind of exposed a little bit. That's when you move on from Kyle. But to Coach's point, you make him wear it. And this season's going to prove a lot. Coach your way out of this, Kyle. Be a coach for once. Coach your way out of this.
And another thing, what's awesome about this is that this isn't for those who are still like, you're still believing in the dream that Kyle is going to finally do this. Well, if you ever needed a litmus test for you to figure out if he's that, wouldn't it be this? Right? If Kyle coached his way out of this, this would shut everybody up. This would make us say, all right, full force. Now we got the formula. Kyle can't be a part of the front office. We already we know the way how we got here. And now let's ride off into the sunset. But if Kyle can't coach his way out of this, how can you move on with him anymore? You can't. So for me, I love this because it finally gets over this 9-year conversation. It's time for us to figure out what we got in this guy. All right. So I love it. The 49ers are making Kyle perform.
What's up,
I don't
Prince?
like
You have
it.
something? You don't like it? Okay.
No, I don't like
Why?
it. I feel
I know
like
why.
I feel like what's happening is we're like celebrating that the Yorks are saving money. Like that's their problem. Their job is to win a Super Bowl, and they're not. They're getting worse. They're getting worse. And I'm not saying they should have re-signed all these players, but they just spent $20 million on Luke Farrell while the rest of the NFC West is making serious moves. Luke Farrell, like you're taking a step back. And what I don't like, and I think this is bigger, but they have their hands in so many soccer teams now. You just bought a team in Scotland. That's cash. And then you already own the team in England, Leeds, and you're trying to get them in the Premier League. If they get promoted in the next couple of months, you're going to have to spend hella cash on soccer players to make Leeds viable so they don't get relegated again in a year because you want that revenue stream. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, you're supposed to want to invest in football. The DeBartolos did. And so it's great that you get, you're making Kyle wear it and you're getting things bounced again. But I'm from Oakland and I lived through the A's doing this shit for a long fucking time. And it just doesn't move me when billionaires save millions of dollars. Like I don't care. Your job is to spend. And if you don't want to spend, then your job is to sell. But yeah, I get what you guys are selling right now. Like, I just don't like Luke Farrell. Like you guys are going to suck this year.
Yes, we're going to suck.
It's going to, but great.
Grant,
okay.
I disagree with you, Grant. I really do. Like, first of all, they have invested. That's how we got here. All right. Even to the chagrin of what they usually invest. They spent over $334 real in salary this year out of Jed's pocket.
So I'm supposed to applaud them for pivoting to soccer in 2025? Like I just
no. Well, look. Well, be where your feet are, man.
Let Ryan get in on this real quick. Let Ryan hit this real quick.
Let me put it together because I think you're both right at the same time. But what we're seeing right now is the result of investing incorrectly. So yes, they need to get cheap now because of the mistakes they made. So they're doing the right thing now, but they have to do it because of the mistakes they made in the past.
And they did it late.
I think you're both right. Yeah.
They did it. They're doing it a year late, which is also hard to applaud. This should have been done last year. Jesse said it the entire time.
Yeah, I'm glad that they're doing it. We could be staring at Debo with more pictures on running on the treadmill, bro. Like, come on, man. Enough is enough.
I'm glad they're doing it too, but they are doing it late. I mean, we know they're doing it late. Both can be true. We can applaud them for finally doing it, but dude, you're definitely doing it a year late. Like you are. This shit, because here's the problem.
How can you say they're doing it a real late and we went to the Super Bowl?
Because I said last off season that it was
they
over.
Try to run it back with the oldest team.
It. Yeah,
all right. Hold on. I'm tripping. I'm tripping. Last year was all bad. They shouldn't have re-signed everybody. Yeah. Okay.
That was all bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was. I mean, but again, I am applauding it for the most part. If you ask me, do you like what they're doing? Yes. Now, to Grant's point, their motives might be all wrong, right?
And another thing I don't like about their motives: lower ticket prices. Call it a rebuild, lower ticket prices for you. Be honest, and then I'm cool with it. But you're not doing that. You're raising ticket prices.
Bernie Sanders,
on the flip side,
capitalism, dude. They're gonna make their money, bro. My biggest thing is that, you know what? The truth is that I'm glad that we're finally having a real conversation and we're talking about the Yorks in the organization and not the kid who they gave the blank check to Kyle Shanahan, because really this has nothing to do with Kyle. The fact that Kyle is put in his place in the organization where it's not about him, where he truly has to just do his job because it's results rendered, then I love where we are right now, right? But ticket prices and leads, and they're gonna own what they're gonna own.
How about just don't raise the ticket? How about we just don't raise the ticket prices, which is what they did? I mean, maybe they don't lower them, but they raised them and then did this, right? Like they
just look at the Niners as a revenue stream, and I just doesn't move me. The DeBartolos really wanted to win Super Bowls, and it wouldn't take a year off to like make a little money and invest in side projects and diversify their portfolio. Like cool 49ers enterprises. You got to make sure Will Ferrell's happy.
They just spent hella money on the TV, right?
For the Super Bowl.
Right.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. That's another thing. You're hosting the Super Bowl this year, and you're gonna suck. Don't you want to like be in the Super? Like this is the year. I don't know,
bro. This is what I don't know, man. Like I hate to do this, but I'm siding with Big Pharma on this one. Like they set these boys up for 5 years, man. Overpaid them, gave them whatever they wanted. Spared no expense, put them up in places on East Coast trips, drove them everywhere, put them on courtside with the Dubs. Like these dudes, the only thing
feels like the movie Major League, where the owners are literally like hoping you fail.
That's ultimately ownership's
fault. Not because it's not viable anymore.
Right.
So it's kind of like we kind of don't want you to. We're hosting the Super Bowl. I mean, we don't think we're going to be in it. So could you just kind of move to the side?
Giving Kyle
what's
and
happening.
John the leash and the debit card was the mistake of Jed York and Parag, right? So they're correcting those mistakes now. They should have had this dialed in the whole time.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree with Grant's point. Maybe the motive isn't right, but I think the result of what's happening is right. Now, I will crush.
I like what you said too, that the expectation should still be playoffs. I like that.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, we got a weak schedule. It's still
They
the
don't hear this
playoffs.
like, oh, they went 6-11, but it was a reset year. Like, no.
This season is
win.
This is
Yeah.
still a playoff season. They still should go to the playoffs.
Yep.
No, because this is the problem, and this is exactly what's happened. Because they waited the extra year and didn't do it last year when they should have. That was their mulligan year. They wasted their mulligan year on a year that they tried to win a Super Bowl. Last year was supposed to be the mulligan year while they were retooling. This year was supposed to be the come up year, but you've already wasted the mulligan year, so you don't get another one. You've got enough talent. You've got the quarterback. You're the great coach. You have enough. You still have enough to make.
You got Christian McCaffrey. You got Trent Williams. You got George Kittle. Fred Warner. You just signed Diamador Lenore. You got Nick Bosa. Go make it happen. 3 new rookies that are starters, plus contributors, and you got 15 picks coming into
Luke
the
Farrell,
draft.
baby. Can we talk about Luke Farrell for a second? What in the world was that? That's the.
I mean, we could have picked up Jackson Halls. Everybody go look up Jackson Halls from Georgia Tech. I don't get why they drafted him. I mean, why they signed him. I don't get it.
3 years? For why?
What about tendering Jordan Mason? What does that say about Christian McCaffrey? And here's like, how can you? This is the year where you don't need to pay a running back. I like Jordan Mason. I really do. But paying Jordan Mason $5.3 million when you're paying Christian McCaffrey 16 and this draft class is just full of running backs, it's kind of weird to me.
If you had to trade one running back, who would you trade? Mason or
Christian?
I trade Christian because it's beyond
Christian.
this.
He's done.
If they
not
trade
done,
Christian
but
before
it's not
April 1,
getting
they save
better.
almost $15 million in cash.
Yeah.
I'd trade Christian. There's a lot of backs in this draft. A lot. We got 15 picks.
The hella picks.
And it's looking like we need them all now.
I'd like to see the Niners trade a guy a year too soon rather than a year too late once. They did it with Buckner. They've been scared to do it.
If you're doing this rebuild stuff right now, then move Bosa too, right? Like, are you rebuilding or not? Like, they always have their toe like just barely.
If they sign Joey, I'm just not going to understand.
We're about to double down on that. I know. If they get Joey here, I don't know, man.
What are you doing?
That one I don't understand. That and the Mostert conversations. Garth says, fellas, I'm a Seahawks fan, and I'm here. I'm a Seahawks fan in here, but I dig Jesse. Does your GM at least value the offensive line as opposed to ours?
No.
No.
Not at all. Adam, in fact, they gloated about it last year. Adam K says,
our center again. Yeah.
Yeah, hold on, wait a minute. Ho.
Brindell will be our center again. Excuse me.
Do you think? Wait a minute. Do you guys honestly think they're going to run it back with Jake Brindle?
Yeah.
It sure
Yes,
seems like it.
I do. I honestly think they like him. I honestly think Chris Forster thinks he's really good. They're going to draft a guard in round 3 to replace Banks, and that'll be the move. Then they'll draft. They'll draft a tackle in round 5.
Guys, I'm referencing the 4 comp picks that we have as well, guys, added onto the 11. We got a lot of mathematicians in the chat.
There's also a 100% chance they're going to draft Cam Scotty-Boo. 100%. They're going to draft him in round 4.
Yeah.
I'm calling it right now. Round 4. Maybe with that one of those comp picks. They got like 138.
I think those comp picks were factored into the 11 that you were seeing, though, Coach. I'm pretty sure. Those
then we're already good. Yeah.
People talking
We
about
have
the
11
Niners transitioning to 12 personnel. Bullshit. Kyle's sticking with what he's. I guarantee they draft Cam Scotty-Boo. I cannot wait.
If he's there in round 3 or 4, he's a Niner.
It's happening.
But wait a minute. So, do you think there's a possibility that they're using this tight end at fullback?
He's Eric Sobert. They just spent $20 million on Eric Sobert's replacement. Eric Sobert has one more catch over the last 4 years than Luke Farrell. True story. This is their blocking tight end. They just have a really good blocking tight end now. A really expensive blocking tight end.
This should be your favorite player because this is the reason that they moved on from Kyle Juszczyk. So I don't care if they paid him $100 million, $80 he should be your favorite player.
Cam Scattyboo's the reason they moved on from Kyle Juszczyk, man. Cam Scattyboo's got Niners written all over him. I can't wait.
I'm not a Scatterboo guy, man.
Kyle
He's not big enough to play
Scatterboo's
fullback.
cool, but he's, not, I don't know. If you can get him around 4 or 5,
One day.
sure, maybe. Adam
He's
Case
not
says,
bad.
what's the point? No, he's not. Adam Case says, what's the point of giving Brock $45 to $55 million contract? And what are the chances of us signing Jackson Dart? I would say slim to none. I think there are chances of them trading back if one of those quarterbacks is available is a possibility, though. Matt McEwen says, I disagree. I think all the bad contracts and restructures with kicking the can down the road is the problem, not BA. I actually agree with Matt on this one. But I think along with that, I don't think they were saying it's BA's fault necessarily, but I think that was like the straw that broke the camel's back. They're like, finally, we've had enough. Tommy says, Saleh knew the Yorks wanted him to be the next head coach. I don't think
I
so.
don't know about that. I feel, you know what? To be fair, I felt that way early on, but no, I don't feel that way at all now.
Can I ask a question about like I don't really like this free agency very much so far. I like some of the things they're doing to pare down the roster, but like the backup tight end was your focus, special teams is your focus. Like the defensive line, you've gutted it. Okay, you got no one left. Nothing other than Nick Bosa and like Kevin Givens. And so you're gonna do what? Sign Joey Bosa? Like, yes, you're gonna draft guys, but you should also be signing defensive linemen, not expensive ones, but you need freaking body. It's kind of important. I don't understand what's going on there. D-line.
Yeah,
sucks.
And they all can't be young. You can't get it all from the draft.
I think Evan
You got
is a guy.
you got your Chirgos Matos and Jordan Elliott, okay, but like you need some more. Dang.
They're looking at Evan Anderson, and then I can't remember the guy's name that got hurt early in the preseason last year. That he
Clea
looked
Davis.
Yes. So I think those are the
He's
two
hurt
guys
every
that
year.
probably
He's hurt every year.
hoping work out, and then they're going to draft guys. This draft is going to be heavy defense, I think.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
have one offensive lineman and one defensive lineman on the roster right now that are guaranteed to be here next year. Like that's it. That's crazy when you think about it.
Jeez,
when the
dude.
league is built around trenches, you have Dominic Pooney and Nick Bosa. Those are the only two guys right now that are honestly, unless you trade them, like guaranteed to be here at the start of the 2026 season. That's it.
How do you
They
get
need
yourself in this
4/5
situation?
of this? It's
You
crazy.
ignore the trenches. You trade up and draft a kicker in the 3rd round. You draft,
quarterback
you know
who
what I'm
never
saying? You get a quarterback in the 1st round that never played. You go into the 1st round that you haven't had in 3 years, and you go get a slot receiver at the 21st pick. That is how you get here, bro. They have ignored guys year in and year out, names that we've all been talking about, Rosengarten, Darius Shaw, like, come on, man, Zach Martin, all
What's
of these
annoying-
guys that we've been seeing.
What's really annoying about it is that casual ass fans, that's what we're labeled. And all the people in the chat, we've all been saying trenches for 2-3 years. And John Lynch, Kyle Shannon, they didn't want to go that route, but all his fans could see it coming. And now we're reaping what they sowed. And that's what's frustrating about it.
Yeah.
that like the 4 guys on YouTube knew,
And we're
this is
like
not our job.
applauding them for like cleaning up a mess that they created, and they're cleaning it up like way too late. Like, we didn't think you had it in you. We didn't think you'd actually acknowledge that this existed. Way to go. It's like, that's a low bar.
Propped them up, and then they wanted their money. They waited until we were at our most vulnerable, and then all of that rah shish kumbah shit went right out the window, and everybody wanted to get paid. And instead of standing on it, they paid everybody. They bent the knee.
Yeah,
that's why we're here.
Corbin B. Official says, I took a break, but I'm back for another 6-11 season. Stockton Slap says, I'm recruiting Jesse to Ram Nation. He needs to be saved. Absolutely not going to happen. And you spelled my name wrong. If you want to recruit me, it's Jessie, and then I'll think about it. Maybe.
You just Tarvarius Ward me, man. He did that to me.
Yeah.
You want to interview me? Spell my name right. My bad.
BP for MVP says mediocre NFC West, easy schedule, can get younger and cheaper and still get better next year, make the playoffs, addition by subtraction on the offense. I do like what they're doing. It is late. Gammon Brown says, at chat, F it. Let's read supers only. Let's go. This is your fault, Gammon. Thanks. I appreciate you, brother. Dave says, damn, I love this chat too. Almost as good. Stockton Slap says, how hilarious would it be if Jimmy G wins a Lombardi at Levi Stadium? If Stafford goes down and he gets hot, would be the Niners' worst nightmare. That would be the worst nightmare, dude. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Matt says copium is a strong drug. Mufasa says get rid of Bosa next. All right. Jazza says the Niners are doing what the Bills did last year. The difference is they have Josh Allen and we have Brock Purdy, who's a better player. He's never beaten Patrick Mahomes. He's never been in a Super Bowl. Jazza?
You didn't hear that Brock Purdy's the most efficient quarterback since the end of the NFL?
Hands down.
Hands down. There's stats.
Yeah.
This is just, I'm sorry that your feelings don't measure up with the facts of the matter, but it's what it is.
Joseph says Brock plus BA for a late 3rd round pick. That would be a disaster. Cliff 5 Super Bowl says Jesse was right last year. Playoffs. Who did we beat with a winning record last year? How many losing record teams did we lose to? I think that is the other part of this is like everybody looks at the schedule as easy. You see a team like the Bears, for example, that are already on the come up. It's like, is this schedule going to be easy? We'll see. Tampa Bay doesn't look so easy anymore. Adam K, thank you for the 20, brother, says, hearing the truth from you 4 is refreshing as always. While others blindly agreed with Kyle, you saw where this team was headed. I told Jesse yesterday, rebuild 2025 has begun. It's time for a full reset. You did say that. I appreciate it, Adam. Dave says, so what does it take to get rid of Lyle Levy? Another losing season. Tommy Murphy says, tell Grant baseball takes 6 years to rebuild. 6 years, does it? I don't know. Matt says, coincidence, York saving money while the Super Bowl is coming to Levi's season. I don't even know what that means, but it's so funny. When you say it out loud. Kyle Stevens says, is Kyle and John's jobs on the line in 2025? Listen, I think this is kind of coach's point, is that they're not going to make it be known, but if they have another losing season, like you can't move forward. You can't move forward. And correct me if I'm wrong, coach, but your thought is, yeah, it is on the line if they lose, but they're not going to let them know that because they want them to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
They want to see what they can actually do.
Yeah, like they can't come out and say it because what's going to happen is that adds culpable deniability of, well, how can Kyle perform under like this type of environment? You know, you got to give him one more year. You just said that he's on a hot seat out of nowhere. Anybody could include these type of injuries. Which also leads me to be wary of all of your people, your Kyle Shanahan publicists who are going to start talking about Kyle can't coach rookies. Like, oh, well, you know, Kyle usually doesn't like young guys on the field. You're going to have to get over that shit. You better start playing people. Like all of this little stuff that was quirky and weird that he could hide behind because they won for so many years, all of that is dead. You're going to have to play guys that we obviously know deserve to be on the field. You're going to have to start running the ball in situations that everybody knows you have to run. And you're going to have to care about getting your team up to stuff. I really like this because we're going to be up there. We're going to get a chance to watch Kyle Shanahan coach when nobody is wowed by him. Like everything's been reset back to zero, bro. Show us what you got.
Here's a question for you guys. I know it's early, and obviously this can change, but after the early round of free agency and what we've seen, not the NFL, right? We're talking about the 49ers making the playoffs here. How many teams in the NFC are clearly better than the 49ers right now on paper? So, Ryan, I'll start with you. Give me a team. Let's go round robin until we run out of teams. Ryan, then Grant, then Coach, then myself. I just want to see how many teams we can come up with.
I mean, the
NFC
easy ones are Eagles, obviously Lions. Like I'll let you
Whoa.
guys. Actors,
Yeah. Don't say them all, bro. No, I'm just kidding. Eagles and Lions. I think we all agree there. Grant, what about you?
The Rams.
Okay, Coach.
Right now, the Commanders.
Okay. I'll go Vikings.
Yep.
On
paper,
paper,
one, Ryan. Yeah, two more.
We said the Rams. Oh, shit, we said a lot of teams.
We said Eagles, Commanders, Vikings, Lions, and Rams.
I mean, the Niners are at the bottom of the NFC, guys. Like, what are we like? I mean, if we're being real, they're towards the bottom. I mean, who else? The Bears did great in free agency.
Come on, there's two that you're missing.
I think the Bears are one of them, but there's two. I've got two more too.
I got two more too.
Give them to me.
Grant,
You guys
you have any?
go ahead.
The Lions.
I gave that one.
You
got
said the Lions, the Packers.
I said that one.
Packers.
I think the Packers are better than us. I think the Bucks are better than us.
Yep, that's
The
the other one.
Cardinals.
And don't look now; it may be the Seahawks.
Cardinals. Oh,
The Cardinals beat them twice last year, and they just added Josh Sweat.
wow.
It'll be interesting.
Get ready for a little bit of Sammy Darnold. Seahawks are coming, bro. We got I'm telling you, Niners. I don't want to get caught up in. I get who's better, but hey man, we saw this coming though. Niners better get it together, brother.
That's a lot of teams.
What's the
guys.
Niners' strength right now?
Cost efficiency.
We're efficient.
Secondary.
Picks in
They're
2027.
We've got some of the strongest content creators across the league. Nobody's going to cover a team's demise like the 49ers content creator community. That's what we've got in spades. You want to hear about a loss? Come on over here to Niners. You any type of flavor you want, you hear it. All types of analysis.
Oh man, their secondary. That's right.
Well, I like
I mean,
Malik. I like
They
Demo.
just lost two starters, but yeah.
I like Renardo, but that's kind of it.
Demo,
they were
Ronaldo
better with
Green, and
Shamarius
Malik
Ward.
Mustafa.
Yeah.
There's a
their coaching staff, guys. They got a great coaching.
youth. I believe that I believe that the Niners could really turn some things around with the youth if they could get this draft going. Right? If you look at last year's draft, we had a very successful draft. We turned out 3 starters out of this draft and a couple of contributors. That's rare. Your average draft is going to pull out maybe 1 to 2 starters and a couple of guys that you're going to have to wait on. But outside with Renardo Green, Malik Mustafa, Dominic Pooney, all right, like these are guys that are going to be playing for a while for us, man. I understand that go ahead.
I'm sorry. Don't be surprised if Salah pulls the best out of D. Winters and Curtis Robinson. I like both those dudes, and with Salah might turn them into some guys.
I like D. Williams too.
Yeah, they got a chance to really turn it around. We got an easy schedule coming up. Now is the time where we could be a team that we got a lot of guys flying around who don't know any better, who are just trying to win. We could really create a us against the world. If Kyle's smart, he puts his back against the wall and is open with his team and tells them it's us against the world, guys. We got to make the playoffs this season. Like if he's smart. He just kind of lets the team know we got to go. Plays young guys and, forget the process, bro. Get the best you got, man. Go best available in the draft. Retool your trenches and play ball.
Stockton Slap says Coach owes Rudy Remilia an apology. During his collab with Rudy, he down-talked the Rams and hyped up the sad Niners. Who's laughing now, bruh?
Rudy?
I don't know what he's talking about.
That must have been a call-in show.
No, yeah. Dazza says if the Niners can't get back to contention as quickly as the Rams, who missed the playoffs for 1 year after the rebuild, what does that say about Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch? Well, I mean, I think this is the one thing that we do know is Les Snead is a better GM and McVay's a better head coach. Like that, until proven otherwise, we know that. So those guys were able to do it. We'll see if Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch can. We'll see. Get the sketchiest name ever. Juggle my Jessies. Says seems like the people saying get rid of Kyle are the same ones that thought Trey was the future. If so, they should lock Kyle into a lifetime contract. I would say this: Kyle's the one that spent 3 first rounds on him. So maybe hold him accountable. Like I don't know.
Yeah, Kyle's the one that drafted him. And then so your point here, Juggle my Jessies, is that if you've ever been wrong about anything, you're wrong about everything, right?
Right.
Yeah,
what about
this is
Kyle?
not the flex he thought it was, bro. Like,
At all.
seems like the people saying get rid of Kyle are the same one. Like, dude, Kyle is the one who lied to us and told us that he was making bespoke plays for Trey on the jet, going to go see him. Kyle's the one that traded all 3 first-round picks to go up for the chance to draft Trey Lance when he didn't even know he wanted to draft him yet. They just wanted a chance to get the number 3 quarterback that was at large. Come on, dude, wake up. Wake up. It can't always be our fault.
Ernest be worried. I disagree with Coach. This sucks.
I love the
this was
picture.
a while ago, so I don't know. That's so good. This one's for Grant. He says they got Farrell because they want to upgrade the O-line without paying for the O-line or investing in a high draft pick for the O-line. Was
That's
that a
true.
take that you had, Grant?
Now they can actually call more play action passes where the tight end blocks the edge rusher. Straight up.
Oh,
His pass blocking grade is really good.
they're going to have their chance this year.
Yo, is there breaking news?
Is there? Oh, Joey Bosa.
Everyone's
Probably.
The 49ers and wide receiver DeMarcus Robinson are in agreement on a 2-year deal worth $9.5 million total with $6 million fully guaranteed.
What are we doing? Why are we signing guys for more than 1 year that are not going to be? What the?
And they signed Jason Pinnock.
So much for finding the number 1 receiver. Oh,
Demarcus
shit.
Robinson. The Rams get Devontae Adams and the Niners get Demarcus Robinson. The names they start with the same letter.
Oh,
Wow.
They signed
Watch out, man.
Jason Pinnock, whoever the hell that is, from the Giants.
Wow. Demarcus Robinson. So is he going to be the starting X while Brandon
he's
Ayuk
the
is
starting
recovering?
X. Yep.
Does that mean they're going to trade Brandon Ayuk in the next few days? Because they got Demarcus Robinson. They're good.
Coming off his best year at 30 years old. He's 31, but he had 505 yards and 7 touchdowns.
Two-year deal?
The best year at 30 years old. He's 31.
They give him a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
Oh God.
DeMarcus Robinson. What they
You guys know
signed him.
this Jason Pinnock guy, this corner, allowed 148.3 passer rating when targeted last season.
That's better stats than Brock. That's crazy.
That's pretty bad.
He had 31 catches last year. Oh God.
Yeah.
He started every game. Oh,
He had 31 catches for 500 yards,
was a
averaging
banner year for him.
16.3 yards. He had 7 TDs last year.
a career
Shit.
high 505 yards. Yeah, that's great, man.
That was his
All right,
career
well-
high. We're catching him on the uptick.
Yeah. Yeah, we are.
Catching
He's
him
our
on the
new,
way up.
Conley. He's our new Conley. Lamonte 757 or Lamont 757 says Kyle will be fired and we will suck. Period. All right. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Adam K says, why is Jake Moody still on the team? It's all about money, man. They can't sign another kicker. 808 Niner says there is no plan. They literally just contradicted themselves. Cut Floyd to bring in Bosa's brother, throw money at a tight end in a tight end rich draft. What the F are they doing? It's fine because they just signed DeMarcus Robinson, guys. It's going to be fine.
But that's what the Farrell deal killed me for is that, all right, well, analytics, whatever, he blocks, whatever, cool. But this is a loaded tight end draft. Loaded. But I don't understand what they're doing.
Lamonte says, why not bring back Trey? Dude, can we not have a Trey conversation? They're not going to pay Brock. The front office is getting Jimmy vibes. They know if they sign him with unknown weapons, he will suck. Jimmy G 2.0. We'll see, man. I think they're still going to pay him, but we'll see about that. Garth says, I'm honored to be on the same chat as Grant Cohn. I spelled his name wrong. A lot of NW cats think he's legit for a NorCal fella. A NorCal fella.
Thank you.
Nick Falcon says, safety, Jason Pinnock just signed with the 49ers. Seriously, you know how I pride myself in watching so much football, guys?
He has 2 S's?
You know how many guys that they've signed this year that I'm like, who the is that guy? I've never heard of him in my entire
He
life.
allowed
He's the third one.
148. He allowed 148 passer rating.
Who does he play for?
Giants.
We signed him.
Yes. You know how many backup guys they've signed from bad teams? Like bad teams, and they signed their worst, like the worst players from these bad teams. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
He was a starting safety last year and a bad one.
Allowed
Camp is going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
We're going to see this in camp. It's going to be a mid-off if they don't do something in the draft. It's going to be a mid-off.
They better crush it in the draft. Lamont says, Grant, please step up your background, Unc. And Jesse, killing you, dog. Have some pride. Don't parag us on the background, my boy.
Oh, this Jason Pinnock dude killed it at his pro day, though. He's put up like very much Jimmy Ward-esque numbers.
Oh,
special team.
What do they give it? They give him a 1-year deal or a 2-year deal? Do we know?
I don't know.
No idea. Hopefully a 1-year deal.
Guys, I hate to leave, but I have to like write articles and stuff. I have to like handle breaking news. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, you're good.
It's been a good show. Thanks for having me.
All right, bro. I got to get through these super chats anyways.
All right, later, guys.
Boogie D, has anyone checked on Shardall? I think Shardall called him.
Shardall calls into my call-in show all the time.
Does he? I haven't heard from
Shardall
forever.
I hear from him all the time. Shouts out to my boy Shardall.
I love Shardall. Stockton Slap says Rombo is still in denial. Poor guy still believes.
Yeah.
Dave Sims says there are only 15 NFC teams ahead of the Niners. Dave. Silas says Kyle is going to look like Will Smith empty room meme on the first day of OTAs. He is pissed. He has to forge new relationships, especially with the Ruggs.
Yeah, because he hates rookies.
That's a great one, dude. That's such a great meme. Cliff 5 Super Bowl says 3 firsts and a third for Trey Lance. You go, Kyle. But blame us for liking the pick, I guess. I don't know. Flav says just popped in here to say Kyle should be fired if he doesn't make the playoffs, but also at least 10 teams are better on paper than them. Logic still sound here. Good work, fellas. Appreciate you, Flav. I don't know about 10 teams, but
it's about that.
Like 8 or 9-ish.
It's Jesse, it's about that, bro.
That was
like
sarcasm.
It's like
from Flav.
Was it sarcasm?
Yeah,
I think so.
He's saying, how can you say fire Kyle if 10 teams are better, right? Not willing to assign any blame for the roster to Kyle.
Because this is a head coach, quarterback driven league, Flav. It's simple. Those teams, a lot of those teams don't have as good of a quarterback, right? That's what I've been told. And a lot of those teams don't have as good of a coach. That's what I've been told. So those two should be enough with an easier schedule than those other teams. Just because you're better on paper doesn't mean you're the better team. That just means you're better on paper. But when the schedule and the games are played, then things can change, right? Like those teams don't play the same schedule as 49ers. So the logic is 100% sound. All Day Everyday Chem says we shouldn't trust Kyle calling Brock the real deal. He knew it after just one practice. Amp the Carolina Niner says, yo, fellas, what I miss? Who the F are these dudes that we're signing? They don't even have
wiki pages. Hey, man. It's going to be rough, but like you said, we did it a year late. But I am happy that they're finally doing it. This is how horrible franchises are created, where they just perpetually kick the can. And we start, what's going to be bad is when we just start signing. The mark of a really bad team are teams that are contingent upon the free agency market, because we always need somebody else's hit. We need somebody else's confirmed player to help us. But when we were winning, man, we barely touched free agency because we built the guys through the draft. So we got to go shop for our own groceries. I like that we're getting. I would be upset if we started signing guys in free agency where it's like you could tell they're trying, like a Javon Hargrave, right? And it's just like, this is not it. So
I think we also like in regards to like comments like that think along the lines of how Flay was thinking. This is year 9 for Kyle Shanahan. He's right. The team is who he wanted it to be. This is the team Kyle Shanahan built.
Yeah.
It took him 8 years to get to where we are right now. It's Kyle's team. Like, you guys can't excuse Kyle from this roster.
You don't get
Agreed.
the same excuse that you got in year 1 and year 2 when you're just taking over a team. This is the result of what you have done. So live with it. Like that's the way that it is. It's like, yeah. Anyway, I was going to go into an analogy, but that's going to take way too long. Real quick though, I do want to shout out the sponsor, Underdog. Make sure you check them out. Link is in the description. They'll give you a deposit match up to $1,000, 50%, one free play if you use promo code LSS. Check them out. They've been a great sponsor all year long. You got more or lesses, fantasy, anything that you want to play, they've got you covered. Appreciate you, Underdog, for being a great sponsor. All right. Garth says, it's the fans' fault. Blame it on the rain. I like that. That was nice. Manhattan John says, 4-man front, more like 4-man frontin', with signings like Luke Farrell, Richie Grant, and Luke Gifford. That's like 50% of the free agent Luke Super Bowl.
That's a great comment.
It's a really funny comment. All day, every day, Kim says, paying a quarterback who can't throw a wet ball is insane. Hey, listen.
I don't think they're going to pay him.
I think they will. Dave says, heard Brick dropped his contract. It was too cold. Wow, dude. FTTB says, Robbie chose an epic. He got to Marcus Robinson.
Robbie chosen as pick. That's exactly what it felt. Remember when he came here and people were trying to make that a thing?
Every free agent that's not good, people try to make it a thing. Lombardi right now is
got
pumping
Robbie
up to Marcus Robinson, bro. I'm telling you right now, it's happening. Go check his tweets. Somebody go check his tweets. I will guarantee you he's got a pro DeMarcus Robinson tweet up right this second, and I haven't even looked. I can read that guy like a book. Quest for 6 says the Bartolos are using their cash on the Tampa Bay Rays, not Kyle's free agent blunders. Sanford window shoppers. Man, if they buy the Rays too, that would be crazy. Ernest Be Worried comes back and says the signing of Robinson is further proof that the 49ers will try to run the wheels off of McCaffrey next year. He's a decent blocker trying to stay I don't know.
Positive.
Positive. Okay. No, you're absolutely right. He is a very good blocker. He's a Kyle Shanahan type of receiver. 808 Niner says figured out the plan. They're tanking for Arch. I don't believe that.
Nah.
I don't believe that one. Frisco Shill says last year's Niners made the final offer to BA a few days after buying Leeds United. Society is driving football decisions.
Yeah. I mean, but if you think about it, man, they've been fighting to get into this Premier League. I mean, they first started off with 15% in 2018 of a share of the leads. And then by 2021, they made it to 44% and they took over the whole thing in 2023. So right now, you know, the Niners are kind of like that firstborn child where it's like, dude, all right, man, it was all about you for the first couple of years. We saw you through college. All right, now it's time for you to get up there and be somebody. But we got your brothers and your sisters. It's their time now. So we've coddled you long enough. It's time for you guys to get out here and just make it. So I don't know. The 49ers, that's deeper than rap though. But
Dave says, does Lyle take a fat dab before the draft and say F it? He just rips one. He's like, let's go. Frank Tom Ocean says we are officially the 2000 Sacramento Kings. Oh, I love that Kings team. I'm not even a Kings fan, but I love that Kings team. Andre Garcia says $2. I appreciate you, Andre. And then Cryptic says, do you think these roster changes can actually help Kyle Shanahan? 2019, we didn't know what we had in Mostert, etc. And the defensive players Sherman shouted out every single game. I don't think we have any gems like that on this roster right now. No. I mean, I guess we could see. I felt like going into 2019, I felt really good about that team. I remember personally feeling like it was a playoff team.
We didn't call 8 games in a row, but
no, or Super Bowl by any means.
Yeah.
But I do remember I had just moved here and I told my friend, I said, this year's Super Bowl's in Miami, next year's in Tampa. This is a good Niner team. If they happen to make either Super Bowl, like we're going to go. And they made it that year, so that was kind of crazy. All right, that being said, I got a hard stop at 9 because pinned to the top of the chat, NFC West Roundtable. Come support your boy over there. We're going to be talking all things NFC West, very similar to the show that I ran last week on this channel. A lot of you guys loved it, but that is the house of the NFC West Roundtable. Coach Ryan, thank you so much for joining in. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for supporting. Much love. Talk to you soon. Peace.